Hey there, welcome inside everybody. It is your pal Choppadong, and I'm going to talk MLB DFS, show you my process once again, as we've been doing for the past few weeks here, but I'm going to bring you some results in a little bit that talk about the fastest system known to man that we talked about last week. It had another decent night last night thanks to our buddy Scotty, and I'm going to show you his results. But that said, I also want to talk to you a little bit about the content here at DFSArmy.com. We are a coaching site. It's what we do. We provide content, tools, and coaching to help explain to you the concepts that make you a better player. And today, we've got a lot of stuff lined up for the weekend. We've got a baseball article. We've got a basketball article. We've got a NASCAR article. We have an MMA section with 2 juicy tidbits in it. A complete fight-by-fight breakdown of UFC 26 by our buddy Big Marley, and the Killshot MMA VIP podcast brought to you by our one and only Football Geek. These are the types of items that are going to make you a better player. Sure, we show you some stuff for free, but to be honest with you, we hide a lot of the stuff back here for our VIPs and give them a bigger edge. That's why you see our helmets, our Army helmets on leaderboards all the time. So, VIP, DFSArmy.com. One-stop shopping, all things daily fantasy sports. I'm a senior coach and contributor here, and I'm going to talk to you about baseball. We're going to go through the research station, and then I'll show you those results. So let's dive in. Pretty simple. Like and subscribe to the video while you're down there, too. You've heard all that. It's old hat. And if you want, use the coupon code CHOP, C-H-O-P, for a 10% discount, because, after all, friends don't let friends pay retail. You remember that phrase from a couple of years ago? Well, I just brought it back. Research station, super easy to find. You go into the MLB tab and all your tools are right here. We're going to go through the time slot. We're going to use a filter here. We're going to knock off the times that are not on the main slate. And to be honest with you, you probably still will have to go through here if there are some double headers or there's some of the, whatever, some of the games aren't on the slate. You can cipher through that yourself and you can make that call. I'm just going generic, going general. This stuff's all going to change by the afternoon anyway when lineups confirm. It may not change dramatically, but some of it will. This is just a process, step by step, how I set my stuff up. I've won the MME nickels before. I've won 100-man leagues like wildfire. I've played heavy cash lineups. I've played hybrids. I've played tournament lineups, all that good stuff over the years, and have every single time I learn something new, I bring it to my VIPs and I brag about it and I talk about it and I show them how to do it. And some of them stick with the plan and some of them deviate and formulate their own plans like Scotty's going to do. And that's the beauty of the community. There's something for everyone here, no matter your skill level, no matter your bankroll, no matter any of that. There's something for everyone here. Everyone's going to get better and we're going to grab each other by the bootstraps and pull each other up. When I'm on the pitching tab and I've sorted off that time, I jump over here to the Chop Shop. Yes, named after me. Thank you, thank you. And I look at K-score. I sort that in descending order. I want those pitchers with big strikeout potential to pop to the top. And I've got Jack Flaherty and Blake Snell and Zach Eflin and Erod and Trevor Rogers. And that sounds like a who's who of poo-poo. But outside of Flaherty, maybe. But to be honest with you, these are the guys carrying the biggest strikeout potential today based on their opponents, based on their own stuff. And it's not super great. We've seen numbers this week over 600. We've got quite a few over 500. It's kind of my cutoff. It's not a hard cutoff. Again, you got to take what the slate gives you. It depends. I mean, if the highest I had on the slate was the 488 down here, then that's what I'd run with. But this offers more. So I'm going to focus on these top few guys. I'm probably going to look at my optimizer later today and my ownership projections in it. I'm probably going to just wipe out everybody that is not, say, the top, say, 5 chalky pitchers, the highest owned pitchers. I'll probably wipe the rest of them out. And then I might add in somebody like an Eflin or an Erod or a Rogers or somebody like that if they're not already rather chalky. Because of their strikeout potential, I may add them in. And so I may end up somewhere between, say, 4 and 7 viable pitchers in my pool. And the rest are dead to me. I'm going to take a stand, draw a line in the sand, and make sure that those are the only guys. And I've got decent exposure to those pitchers because they're most likely to have the good nights. Everybody else, yeah, if some dude jumps up like Brent Suter, jumps out of nowhere and has a monster night, I'm not going to have him. But guess what? Not many of you are either. So in my 100-man leagues, my hybrids, my cash lineups, that type of stuff, it isn't really going to matter. It may matter in the nickels and the mini max and contests like that, because after all, it takes the nuts to win. And if he ends up kind of forming the nut lineup, then I'm just not going to have it. But I can still get deep without it. You can see key stacks, which we'll talk about here in just a second. You can see key stacks of players. And Detroit went bananas for 8 runs and should be in the nut lineup. But then you see guys in the nickels that ran Boston and Toronto and whatever else. It's all about getting the perfect stack components together. And then that offense does do well. But it doesn't have to be the nut on the night. It has to be the nut combination. Okay? And that is pretty unpredictable. Even if you hit a great offense, it may or may not be the low-owned guy that goes off or whatnot. It may just be something that kind of came out of the blue. And everybody else in the top 10 may have Boston and Toronto yesterday, and you may have Detroit and whatever. But if you had the right pieces to it, you still get past them all. Okay? So that's the funny thing about MLB. So don't overthink this stuff. Just stick to the script. We've got the big K score. We've got the guys that we're looking for. We'll also sort descending by W score. Bring the turds to the top now. Let's see if that Baby Ruth floats in the Caddyshack pool. Am I right? And we'll come down here and we'll look at some of these high Sierras, maybe down into here, Keller and Gomber. We'll look for high home run per 9. My God, Fulte's giving up almost 3 bombs every 9 innings he pitches. Here's another one, and Scooble giving up about 3 bombs. Here's another one, Matt Shoemaker. If you round up, he hits 3. These are dudes we should be stacking against potentially. So I'm looking for guys like Fulte pitches for Texas, so I'm looking for Seattle to have a night where they might pop a home run or 2. I come down here a little bit. Minnesota. Has Minnesota hit some bombs? Come down here. Detroit. Uh-oh, I just mentioned Detroit. Was that a little slip of the lip? I don't know. All I know is I'm marking these teams down on a piece of paper as we speak. And I'm going to keep my eye on them. And if they generate leverage in my MLB leverage stacks tool, then I'm going to take serious consideration and take more of it. See, like I may only want 3% or 2% Detroit stacks tonight, but if I see that they're going to generate good leverage and that they're in a home run spot and they've got a few hot hitters on their team, then guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to boost them to 5 or 6 or 7%. I'm not going to take 20% Detroit. I'm not stupid, right? But I do want to be there if they have that big night. It's going to come down to feel. How confident are you that they're going to have the big night? What is all of the other numbers saying, the ownership numbers, the leverage numbers, what does all that say? And that's going to start determining how much weight I put on that team. And I can really only pick 3 to 5 main stacks to go over 15% or so on, and everybody else has to be 2 to 5%. Or I could run 7 or 8% on everybody across the board equally, but then I got way too many Pittsburgh Pirates. You know, so I need to bump them down to 1 or 2%, and then guess what? I've got 5 or 6% to go throw at the Yankees or Boston or whoever I want. Okay, that's how we set the domination station up and provide weight and leverage to our picks. I can come down here to the hitting tab, and I can start looking for W scores again. These are guys that have big WOBAs, and they're facing pitchers that give up a lot of WOBA. 1139. That's going to definitely be a short sample size. 3 plate appearances. Luke Miley. I don't think I trust that, obviously. But these 800s and whatnot, when I start seeing some of these plate appearances get up there a little bit, start to average out, start to normalize, starts to say, this guy tends to hit maybe right or left-handed pitching really, really well. He has a decent WOBA against that handedness, and all of a sudden that pitcher struggles. You know, he's given up WOBA against, and that matches up bing, bing, and gives you a good matchup. Harry Bader has a decent matchup tonight for $2,900 on FanDuel. Contreras, Nice, I mean, these are cheap donkeys. Now they got small sample sizes, but these are viable punts if they pull value out of our optimizer in their project. Say they're projected for 8 or 9 points, and they're only at 2,500. Well, they're sitting at 3.5. 4x, and that's going to pull forward in the optimizer. You may decide whether you want to go overweight or underweight these guys. Harry Bader, if he bats up 6-7 in the lineup in St. Louis, and he's facing the lefty, might have another night to hit a home run. You just don't know. He's a streaky guy. He demolishes lefties. If he's facing a righty, I'd probably fade him. But if he's facing a right, he's probably not carrying that high of a W score. Okay, so I slide back over here. Whoops. And I'm looking at the team and who's showing up. I see some Milwaukee, Minnesota, St. Louis, New York. Do I see any repeats yet? I don't really see. There's some Seattle. There's some Boston. Seattle, Boston, Seattle, Boston. So it looks like Seattle and Boston, maybe a little bit of Atlanta, are the teams that are repeating. So I mentioned before Texas and Detroit and Minnesota, and now I'm looking at Seattle and Boston. I've got 5 different stacks that I've written down on a piece of paper, and then I'm going to then start watching my other tools, my coaches, my cheat sheets, my other stuff, and see if nobody double dips what I'm saying. These are things that I see. And I don't see any monster smashes here in the W scores. Like some nights you'll see just somebody just obliterate a pitcher. And everybody will miss it. You know, who was on the net? Who was on the Mets? This guy. You know, in a lot of cases, I was maybe only on him for 15%, but damn, I was on him and nobody else was. That's what this will point out, a lot of under-the-radar plays, okay? But now, there's another way to determine that. I'll show you another time, maybe next week, in an MLB video covering our leverage stacks tool. That's always fun to kind of show everybody. But let's dive into the trends and the hitters and the hot hitters. And let's find those 30 to 35 guys. Watch this. Whoop. It's almost as if I pre-planned this thing for you. Now, all I need to do is go in here to the 14-day. You can use 7, you can use 30, whatever you're comfortable with. I mean, sit on a butt cushion, don't sit on a pin cushion. I'm looking for the 14-day number for myself personally. It's not too long, it's not too short, it's Goldilocks right. I want to see over a 400 WOBA. 400 is an elite number. Guys that bat over 400 for the year are monster mashers. And they had great seasons, and that's your Trouts and your Mookie Bettses and your guys like that that are having good years. Your Pujols back in the day, who, by the way, is a free agent. You want him to come play for your T-ball team? If you offer up $10, he might do it. I'm looking for over 400 here because that tells me who's running hot, especially if it's over their baseline, especially if it's over their 30-day number. It tells me they're ascending. You see a 438 and a 454 here on JD Martinez, and he is still ascending. His numbers for the month are good. His numbers for 2 weeks are better. His numbers for 1 week are even better. Up, 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 and away. Okay? I might take a guy, if you want to get real nitpicky, I might take a guy like Yoan Moncada underneath him, 436 for 2 days down to 265. Some bitch just went ice cold. I still consider him a hot hitter. You might fade him. That's fine. That's how you can take and twist the system. I'm just laying out the basics, right? These are all the guys that are hitting over 400 on the 2 weeks. These are all the guys that are hitting over a 200 ISO. That's power number. That's straight power, bomb, rip, over the fence, all that good stuff. Gaps, doubles, triples, yada, yada, yada. And over 200 is an elite number here. So if I'm looking for a guy that hits over 200 regularly, that'd be Xander Bogaerts of all people. How about that? And he's hitting a 313 over the last 14 days. Homeboy be hot, right? So if he's hitting that 326 or that where we're up here, 400 over 7 days, hotter and hotter and hotter, right? Good bat to target. He's in a good matchup tonight. I don't care if he's facing Max Scherzer. He's in a good matchup tonight. Seeing the ball well, hitting the ball well, getting results. He's probably feeling good about himself, right? But look at these guys that have cooled off a little bit. They're still hitting for high WOBAs, maybe not as high over the last 7 days, but their ISOs disappeared too. These are guys that I might knock off the list and fade off. You can get particular here, right? I'm personally just going to check them all, though. I'm going into my optimizer later today. Excuse me, later today. And I have Arizona, got 2 Atlantas, 2 Bostons, a Chicago, 2 Cincinnatis, 2 Clevelands, 2 Colorados, a Houston, a Kansas City, LA. You know, I might not see a Seattle on this list. I may still stack them, but I'm not going to boost anybody's projections in the optimizer because nobody's hot. To me, they're all equal right now. I don't know. Their offense can still go off. I still want pieces of them. I'm not going to overload any particular player, though, because nobody's sticking his hand up saying, pick me, pick me, pick me, right? But all these guys are going to get boosted 15% or so in our optimizer. I'm going to set up stacks, and we're going to rock and roll. With the little time that I have left, I do want to show you. I mean, it's that simple, right? The rest of this is just me talking to you. I want to show you what Scotty did. Everything cashed in the big double up yesterday. He's the inventor of our system, if you will, the fastest way to set up cash and GPP lineups, and pretty much burned rubber in the beanball as well, right? A lot of cashes. How do we do that? Well, it's very simple. We take all of these players, we adore them in the optimizer. We take those top 5 or 6 or 7 pitchers and we eliminate everybody else. And then we run the system. We make about 50 or 100 lineups. We see who the top pitcher is. We lock them. We see who the top 3 position players are. We lock them. And then we run the DS for 1 to 3 lineups and pick one and run it in everything. If you like that system, it's pinned in my channel. You can find it in there, or you can come in and ask me once you become a VIP. DFSArmy.com. Use that coupon code CHOP. Like, subscribe to the video while you're down here. Friday, May 7th? Peace, home slices. We'll see you later.